it became part that I was so bitter. I was so hungry. I'm in school. When school closes, I'm back to the street. No mother, no father, no parents. And other students will annoy me because I felt they had almost the perfect life they should live. Why would they complain? Why would they do things just like that? Why would they fail? When I got silver medal, the truth is I didn't know how to celebrate it because I've never seen a celebration. The only thing I saw, Coach Pius was somewhere there. I saw him tearing. I didn't know I was tearing. I didn't know. He was standing at the corner. The only thing I remember, he came and hugged me. He was happy. For me, where did I celebrate anything in this life? My name is Samson Okutto Abayyo, and I was born in a small village. Is it small? A village in Kisumu, Kano Plains, a place called Nyamore, a village. I have an elder brother, a sister, and my younger brother. As you can see, I have a disability, okay? And I refer myself as a person with disability. I'm told that at the age of 3, I was a victim of polio. And that's how I came to relate to life and live my life. So I was fortunate enough because of this polio thing. My parents tried one thing to another just to make sure that maybe I regain control and then become a normal person as others will be. And I can say that I was fortunate. I did not become normal, and I remain who I was then and where I am today. Why? It worked for me. Number one, I was lucky to go to school. I started school when I was very, very young, the age of 5. And with the disability in the village, going to school at the age of 5, that's an honor. So I went to Joyland School for the physically disabled people, and I was enrolled in a nursery school. That's where my journey with life began. I was a bright boy, very bright. And what makes my father happy was that in the entire village, I was the only one who could speak Swahili. In a way that whenever I receive guests, he will invite me to sit along with the translator. Now, they speak the Luo, I translate into Swahili. I do not know whether what I did was, I did the correct translation, because at the age of 7, that was something else. So that influenced the belief that my father had in me and the empowerment he's tried to instill in me. One day I came back home. When my father came to school, picked me, took me home, and we realized it was only 2 of us. And just to inquire, you couldn't get much information, but later I came to learn that the family disintegrated. My mother went this side with my 3 siblings, and I stayed with my father. And I think that there is where the experience of having a stepmom was unveiled. She was an awesome woman and very canny at the same time. And at some point, I think she managed to convince my father that personally, me with disability, education means nothing. And she would use an example of other persons with disability in the village, the progress they have made, which was nothing, and also the societal, quote, expectation of disabled people. So the assumption was the little resource available for my education could be put into different use. And she managed to convince my father that the best is to take all these resources, invest in the daughter to go to a good school, which was also, given the current trend, is a good one, because supporting girl child education is also priority. But it doesn't mean you take from one hand, you close, then you need to support the two. When my father was around, she was the queen. She was the best woman available now, especially in the evening. My father would leave in the morning, come late in the evening, and in the evening, by the time my father was coming, she would find her taking care of me, and we'll eat together, celebrate together that evening. Not knowing when the day breaks, I've already stopped going to school, right? Not knowing when the day breaks, I'll spend the whole day without food. And doesn't mean that the food is not there. The best one could do is very, very nice. Start preparing food for lunch hour. When the food is ready, she'll call you, send you to the marketplace. You and your crutches, you'll walk to the marketplace, buy whatever thing you have been sent. That was a guarantee that by the time you come back, food is finished. So me being crafty, I started to find my own means of finding food. I think at the age of 8 then. So I started to invent my own means. Since I was staying next to the River Nyamwari, I started using this ndoano to tag a fish, a little bit of fish. No, coming from the village and lake is just there. You are not supposed to sleep hungry. So you'll go, try to get some fish, take your fish kidogo, get some, sell some. And in the marketplace, there's a lady who was a small hotel. So I'll take my fish, she'll fry it for me. So I'll trade one fish for gali, one fish for frying, and that will be okay. And at some point, it became clear that I will no longer be able to go to school. And that was an ambition I had. So that is exactly what made me start thinking ahead. How do I go to school? The question will be like, if the mother you're staying with, she has two faces. In the evening, when your parents are available, she's very nice to you. In the evening, in the daytime, when your parent is not there, she's the devil in you. One, it is traumatizing. Two, how do you tell your father, she's doing this? This is what is happening. How will you even start as a boy? You must have some evidence or evidentia to say that these things are happening, which was nil. My father will see us very happy, smiling boy somewhere. Literally life was at a standstill. So I was very crafty and I tried to find my way out. Other than fishing, I discovered that finding my way to Kisumu town was well, because I will go to the Kisumu market, I'll find my way to Kisumu market, and the women were very excited to see me. They'll give me matundas, they'll give me, someone take this. By the time evening comes, my stomach is full and I have few coins. I find my way home earlier. And then in the spate of that, the aspect of alcoholism in the family was also ripe. Not to mention that the stepmom was also alcoholic, and my dad was also, yes. And you can understand sometimes when two people are alcoholic, sometimes they fight. So my stepmom realized that I was doing well, because I disappear, I reappear, I disappear, I reappear. Whenever she wants to, okay. Then she decided, now this one, something has to be done. So the best she did was to hide my crutches every morning to make sure that I stay in the compound the whole day. She will give me my crutches when she wants to send me away, to send me to the shop. So I think at some point they had a disagreement and she left, and I remained my father. Then one day my father told me, Mama will be back. soon. The stepmother will be back soon. So that gave me a panic attack. I said, wow, this is coming. So at that point, I need to stage my life. So I staged now to run away from home because I already knew Kisumu town. I knew that when I get to Kisumu town, life will be better. Number one, I'll eat. That's guaranteed. Whether I'll sleep, yes, I will sleep, but where? That can sort it out. But staying in this compound, this lady, wow, it was very hard. And that's why I left home. That was now the age of 9. So I left home to go and survive in the world. But my picture was, if I have to die, let me die outside there. Someone will bring me home. So I remember I left home. From my home to Kisumu town is about 13 kilometers. Because from my home to the main stage is about 3 kilometers. Then from the main highway to Kisumu town, 10 kilometers. So I think I walked like to the stage, to the main road. Then from the main road, I walked some distance. It's a place called Nyamasare. Fortunately, another old man saw me, decided to give me a lift on a bicycle. So good news is that I arrived in Kisumu much earlier than expected, when the market was still open. I got my fruits. I was lucky to get my fruits. Those women there who were selling. And I spent my first night at the bus stage. Why would I leave home at the age of 9? Number one, I loved my education. Because in school, I'll get everything. I'll get a place to sleep. I'll get food. And I love food. And also, I'll learn. That came to an end. 2, I was staying with my loving father. And the woman, or the stepmother, was supposed to come back to me. So I start again enduring what was, because when she left, at least my father will do things. He will prepare food, leave it there. And in the evening, when he comes back, we'll eat, sleep well. So me leaving home was a finality. Whatever was going to happen there, let it be. Because here, there's nothing where you're going. So you better walk away from the known fear than the unknown fear. So I ended up on the street of Kisumu. And I realized that people are receptive, because day 2, we woke up. I was woken up by the noise on the stage. And people are nice. Because I remember that morning, there's a small hotel which was there where I sat there. The lady gave me chai, mandazi. I said, okay, it's good. Then later on, we started trying to find out how you do make money in the streets. So I found my way next to Ogingodinga Street, a supermarket called Format. Just by sitting there, somebody would drop some few coins and you feel good about it. Okay? Making sense. So I remember sometimes 1989, when I met a boy in town who also has a disability, and is a friend of mine up to date. So he told me one thing, why are you on the street? Me, I told him, I want to go to school. So he told, okay, but you cannot go to school when you're here. So what are you doing? Then he told me, if you really want to go to school, I will take you to Nairobi. When you step to Nairobi, you'll go to school. People will take you to school. Sure. I think it was about April because it was very rainy. So he told me, I will come back. It was an evening. And I will find you here. Me, I'm going back to Nairobi. Okay? But I will come back. I'll find you where? Here. And I looked. where he was pointing. Nikasema, okay. There was those rack where people used to sell clothes on top. It was shade. So the business person would sit in the day, then at the evening, fumble his things, leave. So me, I said, okay, here. Trust me, I spent my night there for almost 6 months because the boy came back in December. So I'll go do my things in Kisumu town, no matter what comes May. I'll come back and sleep there. Come rain, come cold. That's the place I used to spend my night. In fear that he might come back and don't get me, so I lose the opportunity of going to school. Second, he told me, save money. You'll need your bus fare to Nairobi, which is 100 bob to Nairobi. So I spent a fortune of life trying to save money and wait for this friend of mine who said he'll come back. And up to date, I still remember that place. So when it rained, I was being rained on when there. Cold, which I was used to. I had a very nice heavy gunia, which, if you have a gunia, the more dirty it is, the more warmer it becomes. You know that? In December 1989, he came back to Nairobi, to Kisumu, and fortunately he found me the same place where he asked me to be. It was about 9 p.m. And that evening, we boarded a bus to Nairobi. How good was it? So, sisi watoto, I was put on the back bench. The back rows take 5 seats. So it was already full. But I was put in between, so I was the 6th person in between. So I was sitting like this. So there were 3 people there, 2 people here, so I'm in between this the row. And I remember that journey was, I don't know whether it was difficult or the easiest, because the lady next to me was unwell. But I paid 90 bob, I had a balance of 10 bob. So I left Kisumu with 100, but by then I was landing in Nairobi, I had 10 bob. And when I was landing in Nairobi, I was a bit messed up because the lady who was sitting here was vomiting. And me being me, she was sick. So me put a head over my shoulder like this to lean on. But the entire part of me halfway was full of vomit. My friend was seated somewhere. I didn't know what was happening. So we alighted at County Machakos bus at about 5 a.m. And that time unaambiwa shukeni. The bus has to go for bloody service. We alighted, and if you're in country bus, there's a small river somewhere there. So we went and we wiped all those. It was not messy because myself also, my clothes, I'd live with my clothes like forever. So that and this. There's a river, there's a bridge. If you go to country bus on your way to Gikomba, there's a river. And next to that river, there was a floating hotel, wooden hotel. I was standing there. That is at 8990. So after cleaning up, we went to that hotel. And I was lucky to have my tea and mandazi. There I spent 5 bob. And we came to the city of Nairobi, walking. Everything was exciting. People were many. Houses were tall. So it was my first night in Nairobi. I was so excited. We didn't eat that day because I think I was just excited, full and happy. So when I came to Nairobi, I joined the main league of street urchin, I think at the age of 10, which was very, very interesting. So we slept. I'm happy, I'm okay, I'm going to school the following day. So I was okay, very happy. I slept like a baby. Waking up, he was nowhere to be seen. My friend reappeared after 1 week. Then when he saw me, he told me, umesurvive. Sasa wewe ni mwenyeji. And again, he disappeared. So we started to survive there. So I realized that the spirit was to ask for alms for not to survive. So the only way was to start begging for money. And one fine evening, I was walking. Then the junction of Harambee Avenue and Moy Avenue, there is a traffic light. I happened to stand there, not knowing what was happening. And then I realized that evening, people would just come and give me money. I said, oh, this is a nice spot. So during the day, I'll spend my day along Aga Khan Walk. They see that Aga Khan Walk parking. That's where I learned my English. Can I take care of your car? That was my first English in Nairobi. And someone will say yes. So we are guarding, when someone leaves a car with you, you only guard two things: the mirror and the lights, front light. Those were hot cakes in Nairobi. So when you take care of the car and that Aga Khan Walk, my friend is still there. You'll get arms, you'll get money. Then in the evening, I'll go to my place where I just stand. Those women came. Then they develop a means. When they are coming, they will have collected all the coins, tied it in a kitambaa, then just drop it. So just pick it, and that was enough for that day. So I spent about a year along that road. Then slowly, I started to graduate. I realized you can make money in Nairobi in many ways. We used to have a parking lot machines as well. Along Harambee Avenue, I realized if you go there, the person will give you, a whole day parking was 20 bob. So he'll give you 20 bob to pay for that parking. So and then you go and break it into coins. So after 1 hour, you put 1 shilling like that. Then you realize, 20 bob, you can use it yourself. So you have that parking lot machine, what you had is a wire, a very nice wire. So just, it counts to the end. That's 20 bob. It comes back, ting, 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 like something like 6 hours. So that's how we survive in Nairobi. Unfortunately, I grew. The advantage of not desiring to stay at one place started a long time ago. So one thing leads to another, one thing leads to another. So from begging for alms on the traffic, I graduated to taking care of your car, so you pay me for that job. Or parking, taking care of the parking lot. Then after that, I became an entrepreneur. We are the first, we are the legends. Scare your story. We are the first people in Kenya to sell sweets in Nairobi. So we grew. And then you realize that you are making more money than what you could use. Saturday, Sunday was a bathing day. We'll go to Uhuru Park. We have our own place. One day I'll take you there to see. Uhuru Park, there's a place, we used to have river streaming. Where the water was coming from, we don't know. But all we know that it was a state house, water from state house. It was clean, clear. Passing. If you go to Uhuru Park right now, you'll see it. Where the Pope put his monument, there's a small tunnel with water flowing. So there's a place where we used to have our shower in the weekends, Saturday, where you can have a chance to wash your clothes. We made money and we developed friendship. There's a guy who introduced me to an Indian friend. Indian used to own a Shell petrol station. No, it was Shell. No, Caltex petrol station. So if you walk along Kimathi Street towards the end, Jamia, right now is Total. There used to be a Shell. No, not Shell, but Caltex. Used to be a very nice old Indian there. He used to help us save. He will take our money, save it for us. So what do I do with my money? Then it clicked. I wanted to go back to school. But before going back to school, my idea of going back to school, people really tried to take me to school. There are some nice women who approached me when I was seated at Aga Khan Walk to take me to school. But because I was warned that there are people who steal children, I became very skeptic. There were 3 women who came one day, talked to me, put me to Chumi Aga Khan walk. They bought me maziwa, bread. They told me they're going to take me to school. They talked to me nicely. The following day, they brought me sweater to wear. I still have that photo of the sweater. And then they told me the one day they'll be coming back on a Saturday to take me back to school. So if you're familiar with Aga Khan walk, Uchumi, at the corner there used to be a lady who was selling sweets, and there was a very big bed for magazines. Then she told me, wewe kijana chunga, kwenda kuiba wewe. So I got scared. So on the day they were coming, I stood some distance just to watching what they're doing. They came there and they really waited. Hours and I was just sitting somewhere watching. School, I tried to look for schools. I went to Ngara. If you Ngara, opposite Fig Tree, there's a school. No, opposite Ngara stalls, there's a school there. I went to that school. Unfortunately, it was just so dirty. I had a problem going through the gate. And by the time I got to see the headmaster, they said I can't study there. I'm so dirty. You can't study here. You have no parents. You're from the street. What are you doing here? You can't. Then crazy me also tried to go to Starehe Boys. Why would I go to Starehe Boys? I was told it is for the orphans and those students, no children, no parents, so they can go there study for free. Yes, absolutely. I went to Starehe. Because I wanted to be in primary school, the Starehe on the other side, the hostel. So I came to this side, I entered. They looked at me, I think they gave me an interview. But they couldn't accept me because they never told me why. I went to Nile Road because I was told it's for the disabled. But the way I was going there, I was unconscious. I was dirty. Didn't know. Then I had to change my style. I went to Komba, bought new clothes. With my friend, he was a Ugandan, who was also on the street. And we were sleeping at Uchumi supermarket, Uchumi supermarket, Mwimbingu Street. If you can remember those days, there used to be a very huge freezer outside, spoiled one. So we used to duck inside there during the night and sleep. So that Saturday, we went to Kanunua. And there used to be a very nice Indian along Moy Avenue who gave me a pair of shoes. He's now gone, but his son is in Sarit Center right now selling shoes. And we once met. Then I think that night we slept decently because the following day I was going to Thika, Brightone. So instead of sleeping at the normal place, you know those charity sweepstake box, the ones which are very huge. I bribed the lady to night sleeping inside here, and I just explained myself. So she agreed and she locked me inside so that I don't steal anything. But I don't leave before she came. Yeah, she came back. I think she's still there. Right now, the last time I saw her, she was selling newspaper next to Nation Center, just outside. I think she's still there right now. And she came the following day, kafungwa. Then mimi huyo Thika school. That was in 1993, sometime later. When I went to Joytown, I met a headmaster called Okutto. He was in Joyland where I used to study, but he could not recognize me. But I remember, you know, when you're a child, you remember people. This one. So I told him. He told me, okay. Will you afford school fees? Okay. So he told me, come back next year. I didn't have an interview in January. So by the time I was going back to January in 1994 in Joytown, he was gone. But I found another nice headmaster named, God rest all peace, was Anderson Kagema. Received me and instructed the deputy headmaster to give me an interview. The deputy master was Mrs. Gitau. She's still there. And I was given an interview. But I told them I'm from the street, blah, 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 blah. The only thing they asked me, do you sniff glue? No. Do you smoke? No. Do you take alcohol? No. How? And you're on the street. Story for another day. I was given an interview of maths and English. I remember there were 2 papers. Each question had 100 questions. 100, 100. So I did them. But I was somewhere, number 60, somewhere there. Because I was doing them even like this. This one. So she came back and looked at my paper and said, me Peter. That was in January. Then I was told to report on second term. And I reported to school in May 1994 in class 5 after 5 years in the street and 9 years with my parents. So I joined class 5 when I was almost 15 years old. So I went back, I studied. Fortunately enough, I developed, in the street I used to have friends. Another one friend of mine was an Indian friend called Nashir Elbai. He was the owner of Exotica Coffee House. He's the one who took over my education to educate me past my small school fees to class 6, 7, 8, Form 1, Form 2. When I joined school, 1995 in class 5, in 2000, I was in high school. And in high school, there were visitors who came from Norway and they seemed to have liked me. And when it was an exchange program, so opportunity came that, it started in 1999, opportunity came that I was selected to travel to Norway for a 2-week exchange program. I didn't take it serious. I didn't know anything. Those are wishes which were never there. You cannot imagine. Going where? You're in school. I didn't take it serious. I said, Mwalimu Matthew came. We called Mwalimu Matthew. You need to go and do because they took us to the Norwegian Embassy, International Lifehouse. Our photos were taken, information. I said, there's something here. I didn't have a passport. So they said, during the school holidays, that's when I woke up one day. I went home. And when first of all I went home, I didn't know where my home was, but I could remember my aunt's place, my father's sister, whom I happened to stay with this sometimes somewhere in Nyalenda. So I landed in Nyalenda. She saw me, she cried. I saw her, I cried. She sat me down. She chased everybody out because in their mind, she knew me as a hot-tempered person. So she sat me down, she gave me food. I love food. So give me food, eat. Then she told me, you know what? Your father is no more. He died in 1997, 96 there. And circumstances which led to his death was unclear. But he told me when your father left, your father became conscious. He never allowed the woman back because he was told. And they started a new journey. He stopped alcoholism and they started to preach. Unfortunately, that preaching thing led to him being poisoned because of the church politics. So he passed on. So when he told me that my father passed on, I cried. Her being nice, she left. She closed the door, everything. She left me alone to vent. I think I spent like 2 hours crying. It was about 3 p.m. there. Then all of us, I said, no, I want to go home. It's late. No, I want to go. Who is home? Tell me, oh, your mother came back. Oh, nice. So I left for home. So I came through the beach to the main entrance. When I got into the entrance of the gate, I stood the compound. My mama was busy doing her thing. Those maragwe thing kudumu, kupepeta. When she raised her head and she looked towards the gate, she saw me. She became static, and I was static. We look alike, so it was me. Then I have a name in the village. They used to call me Mse. So that's the word she announced, Mse. And when she announced that, she dropped the bag. Then she called my sister. My sister's name was Miriam. She said Miriam, but she's looking at me, not looking where the house is. Again, she called the sister. Then sister is saying, Bine, come out. Now, my sister came out. She also dropped her cup. Then we hugged, we cried. No more tears. Then I told Mom, I want my birth certificate. She didn't even know what is birth certificate, but I told her something called birth certificate. She told me, you know what? Write down what you want. I'll go tomorrow and find out. Okay? So on Thursday. And I was supposed to travel back to Nairobi on Friday. And I told her, when you're ready, call me. I will do what? I gave her the contact for the hotel, the owner of the hotel called Executive to call. So when I got my passport, the macho ikafunguka, I went to Norway, coming back. So up to 2000, that's another phase of life which I embraced. That's why I'm saying people are very much important, and everybody who walks into your life is a blessing. It will become a problem when you forget why you met at first place. So I derive life from that context. That yes, God loves me, yes. But He will not walk into my path to be my salvation. He'll use people. So those people, anybody who walks into your life, those are blessings. So when I was in primary school, Joytown, after being admitted by Anderson Gagema, may God rest his soul, it became part of that I was so bitter, I was so hungry, I get so annoyed very easily because I will not understand. Because number one, I'm in school. When school closes, I'm back to the streets. No mother, no father, no parents. And other students will annoy me because I felt they had almost the perfect life they should live. Why would they complain? Why would they do things just like that? Why would they fail? Why am I saying this? Because when I joined Joytown, I remember I joined the second term. I was number 7. Second term, third term, I was number 3. And the following year, I was number 1. Life was just there. And I would get bitter about life. And sometimes I became a little bit passionate because I said sometimes this, why am I advantaged? Why am I paying my school fees and the other struggling? You're getting that message? Because I assume that if you have a parent, things should be flowing. And I should be the one who's not able to pay. Okay? But I used to have anger that came evolved from the street. So I used to not fight, but when you annoy me, I'll literally act on you as a student, and I'll escort you to the staff room and go ahead of you and tell. I was very cunning. Go ahead of you and tell what you have done to me to make me beat you. So the teacher has no recourse against me. Then I think Anderson Kagema noticed that. Then he told me, hey, where? So in the school there was a gym. It was called physiotherapy, but it had some weights. So I don't know where the principal got the idea, but told me now, wewe, ukisikia kichwa imeruka, go inside. Tum, 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 get out. That's how I survived. I started to learn about. So what came learned is that you have so much power inside you, but you want to release it, but you are unable to control. Okay. There are people who are going outside life to look for something, and there are those people who invent it. So I'm this person who I invent my happiness, then I spread it other than going out there to get it. So I can spend a whole week alone and not feel frustrated. So that's where I started learning about the gym. I didn't know about competitive sport, all those things. But later on it came to work for me after high school. Then I went to sister's home. They accepted me. That's where I ended up doing my Form 4, or doing my Form 3, Form 4 there with them, Balkan school. So immediately after school was, what more do I do? Yes, after completing high school, I started developing headache, painful eyes. One thing, I was angry with everybody. My sight is failing here. I don't know why. Because I will open my eyes, yes, I will see things two. So you look at you, see you're two like this. If I do like this, I can see one person. Why? The environment became unfavorable as well. So I had to walk the journey. So I tried, I started with Optica. They look into my eyes. They say there's nothing, but you need to consult. I went to Lions. I was taken to Lions Hospital, somewhere in those sides of Kangema. They would just put those eye drops. Nothing. I went to Kikuyu. Then from Kikuyu is when one nurse advised me to go to Kenyatta as soon as possible. Where I was staying, the environment was not conducive, so I had to leave to nowhere again. Me put me somewhere for some time when things are not working. I love nowheres, especially where I don't know where I'm going. So in 2003, I had to leave the mission center for nowhere, but I had a taxi. I ended up somewhere in Nairobi West. Anybody familiar with Olenchen Hostel? Good. Later on I received some support from 1 to 3 people. That's where I started life. The lady from the hostel was the owner, good woman. She was very supportive. So when I moved to the hostel, that's where my sight completely, almost failing. When I ended up to Kenyatta Hospital, I was there by 10, I was seen by 3, and the doctor who saw me, I thank him because he saw the need, and I was admitted. And that evening when I was being admitted, my sight had already gone. So you can see, you have crutches. Fortunately, I was in hospital, put on a wheelchair, wheel to Kenyatta, 9th floor. Hapo ndo kulikuwa na where people for eyesight issues. So I was admitted. I was put on a medication, prednisolone. I used to take this medication like crazy, 25 tablets a day. Now they admitted because my sight had failed. They didn't tell me anything. Much imepotea, so we have to treat you. Only that in the report after the discharge. So I spent 1 month in the hospital. By the time I was leaving the hospital, I was on 25 tablets of prednisolone, the eyes thing, but I gained my sight back. So when I gained my sight back, I was in this medicine for the next 1 year. My school fees for computer had already been paid by sisters, so I proceeded to complete my computer course. But at the same time, I learned in Nyayo Stadium there was a gym. So I put my stress in the gym in the evening, just pump weight. Did not knowing exactly what is happening until I was challenged by another guy that there's a competition coming. And it can happen. So that day when I went to the gym, in the competition day, I did 80 kilos. They did 110 and above. So it was a good experience. I said, okay. Then the second competition came. I like it. It was competitive, so it was nice. I did 115. Then when I did 115, there's a coach who saw me, Coach Pius. Said, yeah, you can do good. Then I was excited. Somebody told me, this thing is competitive. And sometime in October, there's All African game. All African game is coming. And only one person qualifies to go. So you need to have a competition. So I went to the gym. I changed gym from Nyayo to Pius. Pius Ocheng was a coach, weightlifting coach. So he mentored me on powerlifting. So by the time you're having a competition in August, was it in August sometime, September? I did 130 kilos. My body weight was 54. And I beat him. Oh, nice. Alex. Thank you for motivation. So then I qualified for All African Games. And that's where my real journey with life began. I realized, wow, I can do sports. Nice. This thing, I can do it. I was so strong inside. I was so much inside. So boom. I went to All African Games in Abuja, Nigeria. And Kenyan team was there too. And the ninth day, there was no medal still. And the country was complaining about joyriders, all those things, blah, blah, blah. You have sent joyriders. You have sent unqualified athletes. So, and I was lucky enough to bang a silver medal. That was my in thing. I got a silver medal for the country, for myself, and for Pius. In fact, when we were going for competition, we spent a whole 9 days without training because Nigerians, feature like if they hid training, they will train somewhere different. They never show you where they're training. You are new, and in that country there was no gym. So the day in the competition, you are told competition is in the Hilton Hotel. That's where you're going to walk. That's where you're going to compete. And because the country had already set, the Kenyan team had already their own mind, there are some people who are not made to perform. Because in 9 days you have not trained, what are you going to perform? So you were written off. In fact, when we were going for competition venue, it was only myself and the coach. The rest of the team were not there. They were doing other things. They are officials, because when you're competing, there need to be some officials who come with you. They need to have a physio, you need to have a doctor, a team doctor, to answer those questions. So I was new to the sport, powerlifting. Coach Pius was new to the sport. He didn't know what is happening. So we were just consulting, what is this, what is this, what is this. But we knew how to bang the weight. But we watched how it's happening. So by 6 p.m., we had a silver medal. By the time the team Kenya realized that we had a silver medal, it was 9 p.m. By the time it was being picked by the news, I think the news picked it ahead of the delegation in the games, because it was in the news at 9 p.m. Me and my coach Pius, we went missing in the village. Nobody could see us. You didn't want to see us, so why are you looking for us now? So we went and locked ourselves in our rooms, but coach had some responsibility to help the weightlifters compete. Me, I disappeared. Nobody will find me. When I got silver medal, the truth is I didn't know how to celebrate it because I've never seen a celebration. The only thing I saw, Coach Pius was somewhere there. I saw him tearing. I didn't know I was tearing. I didn't know. He was standing at the corner. The only thing I remember, he came and hugged me. He was happy. For me, where did I celebrate anything in this life? So I was okay, sawa, iko. Even I gave it to him. And we left. It was casual. It was not something which had so much. Only later on I realized, oh, kumbe, these things happen like this. Then we started now become competitive. Then we learn to celebrate life, because the journey I've had, where do you celebrate? What do you celebrate? Just move on with life. This thing happened. Okay. Move on. So when it comes to powerlifting, so it became a relief. That's number one. I realized I was so strong. I could do things differently. Yes. And it also helped me to grow mentally. It was exposed me. Then we started competitive sport. So I've been doing that sport. I've been doing powerlifting sport since 2003, and the success is good. And the money which came from All African Games, in fact, opened ways for me. Number one, it settled my expenses, partly underscored my school fees in school, partly attended to my hostel. The lady was very nice, the owner of Olenchen Hostel. And out of it, it gave me visibility out, because it was on TV, it was online. The school I was to SPS, they put me into their magazine. All of a sudden, I became an overnight, the thing they call celeb. I didn't know. Me, I was just okay. People looking at you. So because you are used to being looked at when you are walking with your crutches, oh, it's not, but they're looking. Sport gave me the momentum to move forward. So in 2004, I went for the Olympic Games. I came back with, wow, money. In Africa, I was number 2. For over 6 years. In Africa, I was number 2. Come rain, come shine. The only people who threaten me, Nigeria, is because they're full-time sports people. Full-time. You see, tonight we work, we go to work, go to the gym. There, sport is business. 2006, I realized I was alone in the sport. So I asked myself, what if I'm gone? The sport is dead. So the same spirit, I started a mentorship program for those with disabilities to do sports. And whichever I know powerlifting sports, how it is done. So you bring them on board. So you either tap them from schools, which I've tapped enough from schools. You tap them from wherever they are, the environment, but you see, is there a talent? Is there a resource in this? But don't just pick anybody, come do. You look. So for that period of time, that's what I've been doing, promoting disabilities through sports. It helps me relieve my pain as well. And also it helps create a generation. And third, also it helps other disabled people to have a meaning in their lives. Being positive, because disability is still a problem. You cannot date a person with disability. You cannot employ someone with disability. People don't know how to relate disabilities. But when you use sports as an economical excellence, then you get results. So when you're in school, other than the academia, can you use sports as an excellence? And through the same sports, I've registered organizations that helps, supports, or find a meaningful resource to those with disabilities. You're either having a emerging disability, you're either having a disability. There must be something that you can do. It doesn't matter how grave, how sinister your disability is. There must be something, because there is a purpose in you which has not been revealed. And that purpose, it is as human being to reveal it. So the question is, will it have been possible at some point I could project what is coming? No. Because number one, I couldn't have project what is coming my way, because number one, I had no mentor. People use others as a mirror. So I want to be this. I want to see this. Next year, I want to drive this car. I want to do this. Simply because there is someone you have seen who is a mentor, who is driving you to move forward. Okay? And that's the same thing that makes you fail, because when you have seen someone, if you're running your own race, you'll have no fear, you'll have no intimidation. Because where you stop, that is the place you're supposed to have stopped. That's when you're running your own race. Okay? But if you're trying to catch up with another person's race, you'll forever run to catch them up, because they are your mentor. You want to be like them. You want to achieve what they have. So the problem is, you want to achieve what they already have. So it is not you who's moving yourself towards getting something. But when you're running your own race, there's no visibility ahead of you. You're just moving. You're doing one thing after the other, one thing after the other. You will excel. Let me give you an example. When I was joining powerlifting sport, I didn't know anything. Even when I was lifting weights, I didn't know anything. I was just doing it. You're doing it to excel. But that moment when I realized that I look at the world record, then I say I want to beat that world record. That's when I got an injury for my shoulder. And it took you back 3 years because it was not your race you're running. It was somebody else's race. That is why children excel until to the point you demean them. That's where you can mold a child to be anything because they are running their own race. They don't have a mirror before them. But until you start pointing, that's when the child will draw back. Say, okay, I'm afraid I can't do this. That's why you are encouraged to walk backwards to your own self now because it is your race. Listen to yourself. Because maybe you have been running this way and you're supposed to be. Maybe you're going too up and yet whatever you're looking for is just there. Because you're raising so much expectations. Yes, but what you're looking for is just there. That's why we have therapists. They look at you. They don't know who you are. They don't know what's your sickness. But when you talked, maybe they sit there, they hear you speak. Then they throw you. They identify a few things. Because what the therapists are doing are in the books. Then when we talk up, we say, oh, I feel so nice. You're afraid of your own self and someone has just punctured that fear. Doesn't make you feel better. That's how we recover. So the journey is don't be afraid of yourself. That's number one. Number two, speak to yourself more. Speak to yourself more. So live in the present, and what I never did there, can it be realized in the future? That's the question. That's why we have what next. What next is for you to correct or make best your past. That is what the future is. You cannot have a future if you do not know what happened there. So in my case, I've done powerlifting sports, I have a disability, I'm unemployment, and I'm still growing. I'm a parent, all those things. So what do I see in future? I want to invest in disabilities. I want us to stop speaking to the disability. I want us to start speaking to the person and the person's environment. Let me make this simple. You look at me, Abayyo, you will sympathize with me based on how I work or I do things. So you will help me based on that. I want you to stop that. I want you to stop looking at that. I want you to stop looking. I want you to start looking at me. Abayyo the powerlifter, Abayyo the employee, Abayyo the parent. So my future, my main focus right now is to help the industrialist take advantage of disabilities and to help the sports world take advantage of disabilities. I want to help the disabilities take advantage of their health, recreations, wellness. Because right now, tell me, if anybody right now become disabled, will they go to 5th floor? Why? That's why I want to help the industrialist. If I live in 5th floor, then tomorrow I become disabled, can I still go to 5th floor? Those are the questions I'm trying to ask, and you must find an answer. You don't have to wait until something happens, then you start to think on how things should be. Let that thing be there. So that when it happens, because you can build a very high machine and then you put a drawer. When it happens that you're falling back in your bathroom and you can't even reach. So the question is, why did you put it there? So we are picking up with an organization called Abayyo Foundation. We also have a consultation firm called Abayyo Solutions. Abayyo Solutions just pick the aspects of disability and advise on how what need to be done based on my gender.